I'm visiting here today with Alan Brown, and Alan Brown's a filmmaker who has a remarkable career. And Alan, thanks for being with us on today's show.
Thank you, Alan. It's a pleasure being here.
So, Alan, you've done quite a bit throughout your life, but I'd like you to take us through a timeline of some of the projects that you've worked on and what led you into that. Let's start out of your growing up years, graduating from school, and then what led you into your path here.
Interesting story. First of all, it's an honor to be interviewed by you, Alan. I got into the business literally by pure accident. I had been a writer at university. I had worked on the university magazine as a writer. And when I moved to New York, I probably wouldn't have had the confidence to get into the entertainment business. But I had a wonderful encounter. I was actually, truthfully, I was waiting tables at a Greek restaurant from 11 to 7. And I met a fellow by the name of Craig Fisher. He'd come in about 4 o'clock in the morning. I didn't know he was executive producer of the Today Show at the time. And he would always he would come in and say, are you educated? Your parents wasted a lot of money on your education. And he would just not harass me, but in a kind way when I'd wait on him. And I'd say, I'm a writer. And he didn't let, it was maybe a month. At that time, he handed me his card and it said President of the Writers Guild of America East. So if you want to talk about being embarrassed. And he handed me his card and he said, okay, you can report to work tomorrow. And I spent quite a few years with Craig. I think the total was about 7 years with Osprey Productions. It was a wonderful experience. And Craig did things that I thought, it wasn't until later I learned he did things very originally, which I believe was one of the, was responsible for his great success. From the Today Show to a lot of the documentaries, to Osprey Productions, a lot of the shows he did, and the amount of awards. The reason I say that is because I worked as a story editor, and he did things just completely different from, since then, I'll give you an example. I've worked with major universities, graduate programs that taught writing, creative writing on a graduate level. And the way I work with my authors, the way Craig taught me to work with them, and especially in the analysis of stories. And one of my professors, one of my clients said to me, where did you learn this? I teach. I've been to the best university. We've never learned how to do this. And I just said, I thought, everyone knew this. And primarily all the information that I learned in story editing came from Craig. From there, I left Osprey. I went on to, Joseph E. Levine was a client of ours. Joe Levine, who did 500 films from The Graduate to A Line of Winter Cardinal Knowledge. And it was a wonderful gift that I was offered an opportunity to go to work for the Levines. And, I moved from our offices to Park Avenue. And it was a fun time, interesting time in the industry. Different than today's world. Everything seemed at that point fixed. Uniform. You knew there were 3 networks. You had beginning of an MTV, but it was still, I can remember when the fax machine came in and all of a sudden our contracts from California wouldn't take 3 days. We could fax back and forth and talk to our West Coast counsel. And it was almost like revolutionary. And it was during that period of time that the large cell phones came in that were this big, then you could talk. And the world was starting to really change rapidly. But it was a wonderful, wonderful time. Joe passed away. I was appointed by Citibank to liquidate the assets of the Levine Company, which I did. And then I went on to work for Rob Reiner, and I was the executive producer with Phil Kellogg of Year of the Comet, and Phil was Joe's best friend in life. And I think I met Phil at Joe's funeral, and Phil was the agent for Sophia Loren and Audrey Hepburn and Close Friends and Angela Lansbury. And he was the, I think, senior VP motion picture division of William Morris at the time, prior to that. But he was Joe's best friend. So he asked me, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I'm not so sure. So we produced some films. We did Year of the Comet, then Sea Kings, made a deal with Sea Kings, never got made. Then Beach Music, which I negotiated. It was an agentless deal for Pat Conroy. And I think we ended up with the highest price ever paid for the motion picture rights. At that point, then I was offered a lot of agency gigs and became friends with Jeff Berg. I didn't take it up. I'm not an agent. I'm actually probably a terrible producer, in truth. I'm more in the story. So make a long story, I made deals for the entertainment industry, put a couple people into business, and arranged the funding for different companies. And then when the crash happened in 2007, I said, in my whole entire experience, what did I enjoy most out of life? And it was my story editing. So I went back to story editing, and I'm still in the same business today, but it's branched off in a lot of other areas because you can see, I've made a lot of friends over the years, and I don't burn bridges. So now I'm involved. I'm on the advisory board of Veritone, public company. My editing business is sort of thriving. Not sort of thriving, it is thriving. I work with a lot of A-list writers that are friends, a lot of young writers that I think have tremendous amounts of talent. And I know, this might sound strange, but I know that this is what I was meant to do. I mean, I enjoy working with creatives. I enjoy helping them through both the movie industry or the streaming industry today, and also the publishing industry. And I've had a lot of wonderful, associates, acquaintances from Gay Talese, who's a dear friend, who you should have on this show, who would give you a great interview. Just a plethora of people over the decades. And, Charles Sullivan, who I know you know, and is an associate. And I've had a blessed life. And when I was thinking about, when you asked me to do this, I was thinking about what would I really talk about? And I'd venture to say probably the difference. I truly believe today what someone believes, what someone conceives and believes can be achieved. That once we put our mind, body, and spirit and energy behind something, it actually anything becomes easy to achieve. And I think if you said to me and then to take responsibility for it. So it's more like today, what is wealth to me today? Obviously, once the economic needs have been taken care of, you sit down and you ponder what's really important. Well, free time to spend with my family, free time to do whatever I feel. How do I say this? The greatest wealth is to have the free time to do what I want to do. So I'm careful about my time today, just because it's the only thing I have a limited amount of, and I realize that. So I try to stay in the present, with my own children. Like a lot of them will say, Dad, I'm scared of this. And fear to me is like running a horror show in your brain. And so I've said to my children, if you're that scared of something, why don't you write it down and sell it? Because it doesn't belong in your head. It belongs on paper. There is no such thing as fear. I mean, how do I say this? Over the decades, I've learned that I process things internally through 5 senses. but everything is inside of me, how I perceive the reality. It's not outside. And what do I want for the inside of my own personal reality? It's peace, joy, happiness. The same thing I hope for the outside world, outside of me. It's peace, joy, happiness. And all these things are achievable. And so today I'm focused on like Veritone. I think AI is the future. I think it'll solve a lot of problems. They've moved into the energy sector. It'll make the different types of new energy, renewable energy, it'll make it much more efficient. Matter of fact, if Elon Musk is listening to this, if he listens to your show, tell him, call Veritone. Because they have, that will help with his battery. And they've been working with Dr. Khan out at Stanford, and they have his patents. And I know Elon was going after his patents, but Veritone owns it. And they're doing so many fabulous things, but I see the future, like we look at governance now with so much turmoil and personality. I can see the future where governance or governments will become more like garbage collecting. It'll be equal and fair to everyone. And that can be very easily accomplished with AI. So those are the kind of things that I'm doing now. And I think where most people look at the world and say they don't see a bright future, I see a tremendously bright future for the upcoming generations. I mean, you look at the world today, it's like we have more comfort as a global society than we've ever had. We have more technology, so much technology and comfort that is probably killing us. What we need is the inside changes. And yet no one teaches people today. Like a good example, I spent probably a lot of my early career learning how to manage my thoughts, control my thoughts and manage them, control my feelings and manage my feelings, and getting my feelings and my thoughts to work for me. And I realized I'm not my feelings, I'm not my thoughts. You know, I'm really not. I used to think I was a human being trying to live a spiritual life. Today I realize I'm a spiritual being in a human mechanism machine. I'm really a spiritual being living a human life. And the changes that in that, like if you said to me, it doesn't matter how much I have economically, if I'm not peaceful, joyful, have peace and joy within me, it doesn't matter. So all the wonderful conveniences and gifts this world's given us that we've created. I mean, I was thinking about, how do I say this? I see my outside reality, my career, my life, as more of a reflection of what's going on inside of me. You know, I see, okay, this might sound a little weird, but.
No, this is good. I like what I'm hearing right now.
Because I never worried about what job, I always followed my passion. And I never really intended to become fluent. I mean, I've hit levels of success I never expected. You talk about the American dream. Mm-hmm. I have had more joy and peace and serenity on a daily basis. And Charles, in our earlier conversation, was absolutely correct. I cycle about 50 miles when I get out.
Wow.
But I love to cycle as a hobby, and it's a form of meditation. But it's the inside that we have such large brains. We're probably billions of years of a creator's evolution to reach mankind, like man to reach this pinnacle. Probably billions of years, and that all these large brains, it's very easy. Like I listen to people saying, including my own kids, oh, gee, Dad, about, stress about the job, about this. And I'm like, do you understand the magnificence of your brain? You should be able to just do a job just like that if you want. Mm-hmm. If you're in sync physically, emotionally, and spiritually, it'll happen. So like a good example, I maintain my body machine. Exercise, I don't drink, I don't smoke, and it's my own preference. I don't eat any kind of red meat. And I live a healthy lifestyle because I want to be peaceful in this body. So from that point, uh, I've had a great life, and I've been involved, and a lot of the people that I know, and so I've been around a lot of celebrities over the decades. Had wonderful friends. I've, you know, as a mutual friend of ours says, I've had a grand and glorious life, and I'm really grateful, and I'm really grateful for this. And if I can convey one message, that what can be conceived and believed can be achieved. That you know. The actions are ours, the results are God's. So I know that I'm responsible for my actions on a daily basis, not the results. So I never focus on results. I focus on my actions. And just those simple things: no judgments, no expectations, no attachments, no negative thoughts. And creating that kind of interior discipline, I think, has been has had a lot to do with the success that I've had in my life. More than anything else, because what's the sense of having any kind of financial success if you're in turmoil and can't enjoy it? And what allows me to enjoy it is that inside of me, I don't really need it. If that makes any sense. It's like, I'm happy, joyous, and free. What greater wealth is there?
Those are very, it's very, when you lay that out, it has a lot of wisdom, a deep meaning. What I've found over the years, Alan, as I've visited with a lot of critical thinkers, is that they often are, they're trying to solve a problem. They're not trying to do something to enrich themselves, but they're trying to put the solution in place. And the people that are successful with that, the solution will also involve the minds of others, having them unite with them. And the more people uniting, the better the results, because the problem is not just with them, but it's within society. And so I love this, when you talk about what the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve, as long as that solution has to do with identifying a problem that exists throughout society. And so this is wonderful. When you look at the projects in front of you, what gives you the greatest drivers, or where does your real passion rest?
I think solving I'm a fan of Elon Musk, because every problem he tackles is a global issue. Mm-hmm. And if you look at his list of companies, I really admire that. And I think that all these things, from creating a wonderful, we were given a veritable paradise. I mean, if you look at the planet, our creator was great at what he did. Mm-hmm. Whoever, whatever, I don't want to get into religious,
but that's okay.
But the creator gave us the most wonderful, beautiful environment.
Yeah.
And our job was to manage it. And we're doing a lousy job. Now I think this younger generation will, and I think that AI will help give them the tools to do this. But the interesting thing is the way it starts individually for all of us, because we interpret reality from our own inside. If I could offer to the global group, is to of young people, take responsibility. Find your bliss inside of you. Treat your body like it is a fine running machine, because it's a great machine. We manage our cars, we take care of them, and yet a lot of people don't take care of their bodies the same way. So, put good things into it, take care of it. And then I think in a lot of ways, the rest will take care of itself. It's that, because we can solve world hunger.
Mm-hmm.
We can help heal this planet back to the way it once was. We can get rid of the pollution. We can, as a group, manage the planet. It's within our abilities, and I think that we really need. Like for me, I try to spend time just becoming sensitive to other life, like to look at how beautiful and to slow down enough to be sensitive. And that's, it's to be open to the changes that are coming. And I think big changes are coming, positive changes, I hope. And I have a lot of faith in the younger generation. So, as an old person, which I don't feel it, but I have a lot of decades behind me, I would venture to say that, all the comforts are here for everyone, and I don't see comfort making anyone any more happy. But I have seen where if people align themselves, their emotions, their mentality, their physical bodies and their energy into focused goals where their thoughts work for them and their emotions work for them. Where, it's like, I realized one time I was reacting to a very negative situation. And I realized, wait a second, I'm reacting. I don't have to. Does this person control my emotions or do I? And once I realized that I control my emotions, emotions started to become like clouds in the sky. I'm responsible. They come and they go. But I'm responsible for how I feel. And I can choose how I feel. The same thing for all the thoughts that I have. But yet I don't see any kind of education. Everyone's looking for the outside to make them happy. And the facts are the inside can make us happy. We can reflect it out. To me, that's probably true success. And, and it doesn't mean, I've been blessed. I really have, because the mentors, just like a lot of other people, certain things put themselves in my life that I didn't expect, that led to my success. I'm not responsible. I feel like more like I've had a series of being at the right spot at the right time, even including like with Veritone. I mean, here I am an editor, and I end up as advisory board for Veritone, but it was because I wanted to help them. And then they said, you know some people? And I said, yeah, I know lots of people. And you know who I'm talking about? And I said, yeah, you have such a great little company here. Let me see what I can do. And now I feel like I'm involved with a company that's on the forefront of AI. And I think will actually change the world. I mean, I think they can do wonderful things. Like, I would love to see politics like how my garbage truck picks up my garbage in my house twice a week. It's a function, it serves the people, it does a really good job at it, it's beneficial and it's economical. And there are no personalities. And I think that really good governments should treat everyone equally, fairly, with no personality. And maybe someday I hope we'll see it that way, but I don't know.
Well, Alan, I certainly appreciate you being with us today. This was just filled with lots of wisdom, and I appreciate you sharing your experiences here. But thanks for being with us today on the show.